Hello, welcome back to Rates of an Apple. My name is Stacy and I'm here to do Vlogmas day 6. If this is my first video that you are seeing this for this month, I have a playlist, so definitely check that out. But let's just get into it because we have things to talk about. So I have been doing the Adagio Tea's 24 Days of Tea, and this is the loose leaf version of their advent calendar. This is the 4th year that I'm doing this calendar. The first year I did the bagged version, and since then I have switched to the loose leaf because they have a lot more fun and unique blends in this, and I believe they change up more of the teas in the loose leaf one than the bagged one, but that could have changed since I last talked to customer service after the first year. So let me find day 6. Okay, there we go. I'm excited to see. Okay, all right. I think I might have had this one before. So, Black Forest Cake. This is a black tea with cocoa nibs, natural chocolate flavor, dark chocolate chips, cherries, natural wild cherry flavor, and natural cream flavor. And this has moderate caffeine. They recommend 3 minutes at 212 degrees Fahrenheit. And this does sound familiar, so I feel like we have had it. I do have a spreadsheet tracking list for the previous 2 years. So I'm just going to quickly scan it just so I know for sure. I did not keep track the first 2 years. Okay, so I don't see it in 2020. But I do see it. Okay, and this was in 2021's, and it was on the 15th. And last year, I give this 4 out of 5 stars. For some reason, this year, I decided to change my rating out of 10. But I'm not a big chocolate person, but there's dark chocolate in here. I'd prefer dark chocolate. And the cherry comes through. It's a very dark tea, and look, you can see the little chocolate. Oh, I just dropped a chocolate chip. I don't see any cherries, but they could have just completely dried out. It said there was supposed to be cherries in there. So I'm going to try to save this one little chocolate chip. You are a teaspoon. So yeah, tiny little chocolate chips. Do you want to sniff? Oh, goodness. Oh, yes. She's very excited to sniff this. I think she just wants attention. So tonight I'm using this strainer again. Even though I have other strainers that are fun and work well, I've decided to try to stick to my small mesh because these are surprises. So I don't know what kind of tea we're getting. It could be one that needs room for space, but I'm more concerned about the really small teas like yesterday's, which was a rooibos, and I want a super fine mesh for those ones, so I don't have too much sediment in the bottom of my cup. And then today's mug is a gray yarn skein. It says easily distracted by yarn, and it's very hot. My cup is very hot. It's still super steamy, so let me get this steeping, and I do prefer a darker tea, so I will be steeping it longer than they suggest. But I'm excited. We'll see if it holds up. 4 out of 5 is pretty good. So, yesterday, I read Mistletoe Mobster. This is by Cassie Mint. This is about 80 pages. And this is the first book in her Very Merry Mob series. So this is a I mean, because it's like mafia, I think it's just naturally considered dark romance, but this definitely isn't super dark. But this is a holiday dark contemporary mafia romance. Or mob, I don't know. Do mafia, mob the same? I mean, they're pretty much the same. But yeah, this was super fun, super cute, very insta-lovey, but I give this 4 stars. It was super fun. So this is Leah and Nico, and Leah, her aunt owns a bookshop, and her aunt is out of the country on like a year-long cruise or something like that, so she's basically taking over the shop for her, which she is perfectly fine with. She has a little apartment above the shop, and one night when she is closing up and she gets a knock on the door, and, you know, against her better judgment, and she is like, I'm not letting you in, I'm not letting you in. And then finally he's like, please, I'm injured, I need help. So she lets him in. She threatens to call 911. She's like, let's get you an ambulance because he's clearly bleeding everywhere. And it turns out, and he's like, no, please don't. Just let me call my personal doctor. And so she's getting vibes that he's definitely not just a normal citizen. And she kind of helps do some immediate first aid to stop the bleeding. And the doctor shows up. And they have this like little spark between them where they're kind of bantering. And then in her head, she's just like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? This dude is a criminal. And he got stabbed and won't tell me anything, and they end up kind of leaving, and she can't stop thinking about him. And then she starts to see him like in the bus stop across the street, and the top of the building, a couple buildings down, hanging in like her little overhang nook when she's closing up shop. And so she can tell that he's keeping an eye on the shop. And so what we come to find out is there is some big conspiracy, and nobody really knows who is behind the stabbing of Nico and his mob. And they think that there's somebody inside who's behind it. And so he is keeping an eye on her because he is worried that by going to her for help, even though he didn't know who she was, she has now been put in danger. And one night, and the doctor keeps like giving him crap about it. But one night, this is a couple weeks later, he hears her cry out for help, and the doctor's actually there as well. And they go up and they kind of break into the bookshop and go up to the apartment above, and she's being strangled by some hitman, and he bloodies him like his face is freaking hamburger meat, but he's alive. And the doctor takes him to be questioned, and they find pictures of her and the head guy, DeRossi, and the doctor, and then the doctor with the head mobster dude's younger sister. And then so Nico can kind of give crap a little bit about that, because he's like, you keep giving me crap about Leah, but really you chose his sister? Like, that's not a death wish. And so, I mean, it had some kind of good humor and lightheartedness despite like some of the more gruesome, violent scenes in it. And then he decides to kind of take her with him, and they're gonna stay at the, like, I want to say capo, but they're not mafia, but I don't know, maybe they are. I'm just gonna say capo because that's what I know them as, and he speaks Italian, so they are an Italian mob. So maybe technically that means they are mafia, but it's not called mafia, it's called mob. But anyway, I digress. But so he takes her to the capo's house, and basically has to give the capo leverage that yes, she is someone important to him, and it's kind of an unspoken agreement that he goes, is she important? And he just says yes, and they have that unspoken agreement between him. And then they basically stay at his house until things are safe, and then get it on. And she is a virgin, but I liked that it wasn't really a big deal made about it. And she kind of puts the moves on, but then she gets nervous. But I mean, I feel like it was a little unrealistic, but I was there for like the happy holiday vibes, so I wasn't really paying too much attention to when they first got together. And then they steal the capos, so then there's an epilogue, and it's like a week or two afterwards, and they get married. So, and her aunt's on like a live stream, and the capo's there, and like the capo's right hand man. What I found fun about this is he is loyal, and he is only for the mob, like, and for his capo he is extremely loyal, but he isn't like a major player. He's not like the capo, and he's not like, or one of the top guys. Like, he is super loyal, and I feel like he is higher up in the hierarchy, but he's still kind of like, because he's doing stuff out on his own, and he does have some level of power, but he's not the typical person, I feel like, that you would read in a mafia or a mobster book where they do have power and they flaunt it and it is a thing. And so he just, like, he feels like a peon, even though I know he's not, just kind of based on the respect that he's given and the fact that he has a nice place, a nice set of rooms in the capo's house, and the way that he's in on the capo's meetings, but he's at the end of the table. He's not up close sitting next to the capo. He's at the end of the table. So it was kind of fun to just kind of read a little peon mafia dude as well. But like I said, 4 stars. I enjoyed this. I mean, it's a mafia Christmas novella. So, I mean, you got a good little chunk of the violence and the possessiveness of what's going on. And then you got, like, the Hallmarky Christmas vibes. So, yeah, I loved it. 4 stars. I mean, I'm half tempted to make it 4.5, but I mean, it's just so short. It didn't just 100% completely blow me away, you know? But even though today, I usually don't spoil it, but even though today is the 6th, and Sneaking Around with the Player, which is the second book to one of the first books I read for Vlogmas, came out today, and I'm super excited to pick that up. I think I'm going to pick up the second book, because the second book in this series is also under 100 pages, so I can get through it very quickly, and it is Dr. Raoul's and the, like, mobster's little sister romance. And there is a mention at the end of this book that they both have disappeared. And then I read the blurb for the next one, and they're both in a safe house. So forced proximity, being forced together in a safe house. So yeah, I'm excited. So I'm probably going to read that one next. I have not started it yet, so I am spoiling what I'm reading tomorrow, but there you go. Just a little teaser to make you, if you're intrigued enough to come. So tomorrow. Alrighty. So you can smell more cherry now that it is steeped. And the chocolate is a little bit more prominent, as well as the black tea. I feel like the chocolate was the most overpowering when I smelled it in the packet. But here, you can smell a good blend of everything. So let's see if it holds up to last year's score. Hi! She's sitting right between my feet. My goodness, hi! You're a jeepers. I like that. I like that for me the cherry comes through a little bit stronger than the chocolate. And the chocolate has more of an more of the aftertaste, but the cherry is more what you taste when you first put it in your mouth. Yeah, I think I'm gonna stick with that, but double it up. So 8 out of 10, because I do really enjoy this one. I would definitely, I don't know if I'd go out of my way to buy it, even though it's really good and I really like it. I more would pick up like a black tea collection, and if this was one of the ones in it, I'd be more likely to pick up that collection. But because I'm not always in a chocolate mood and I'm not the biggest fan of chocolate, if I bought a packet of this or a package of this by itself, it would take me forever to get through it, just because I'm not usually in a big chocolate mood. But this is still really good. So if you are not a super big chocolate person like myself, this is a decent and not overpowering chocolate black tea. So good. Okay, I'm gonna wrap up there. I feel like I just talked a lot. And this video was a lot shorter than the other ones that I've done. But I'm just going to leave it there. So I will see you all tomorrow. Please like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And if you want to leave me an emoji down below, leave me something mafia or mobster related. And, you know, pick something, anything, just for fun. And I will see you all soon.